Hey there, if you're like me, you've probably spent a few too many evenings wondering whether the next piece of equipment you slip into the budget will actually solve the problem you're facing, or just take up space on the shelf. That hesitation is real, especially when you're dealing with label printers that sit at the heart of a warehouse or a small shop workflow. You don't want to waste money on a machine that looks good on paper, but can't keep up when you're trying to push out dozens of barcode labels per hour. And you definitely don't want to end up with a printer that talks to your software, but refuses to print what you need. The Brother TD4750 TNWB is the kind of thermal transfer label printer that promises to fit right into a busy environment. But is it really the right fit for you? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's break this down the way you'd actually think about it when you're standing in front of a workstation, trying to label inventory, shipping boxes, or even assets in an office. First off, the TD4750 is a 300 dpi thermal transfer unit. That resolution isn't just a number, it translates into crisp, readable text and barcodes that scan cleanly every time. In a real warehouse setting where you might be scanning items on a conveyor belt at 6 inches per second, a fuzzy barcode can mean the difference between a smooth outbound process and a line stop waiting for a rescanned label. The 6 IPS print speed is decent for a mid-size operation. It's fast enough that you won't feel a bottleneck when you're printing a batch of 100 labels. But it's not so fast that you'll be forced to use high-cost media to keep up with the pace. One of the biggest concerns people have when they look at a new label printer is connectivity. Brother has equipped the TD4750 with LAN, USB, host USB, and serial ports straight out of the box. The practical impact of this is that you can drop a cable from the printer to the network switch and have multiple workstations push print jobs without needing a dedicated PC for each station. I've seen setups where a single TD4750 sits on a wall-mounted shelf and receives jobs from 3 separate picking stations, all via the same LAN connection. The serial port, while a relic for most modern shops, is a lifesaver for manufacturers that still run legacy WMS systems. You won't have to upgrade the whole software stack just to get a modern label printer working. Now, let's talk about who really benefits from this machine. If you run a small to medium distribution center, a boutique e-commerce fulfillment room, or a manufacturing line that uses barcode tracking for parts, the TD4750 hits the sweet spot. The compatible software integration means you can hook it up to popular WMS solutions like SAP, Oracle, or even custom in-house apps without writing a driver from scratch. The versatility also shows when you need to switch label formats on the fly, say from a 24-inch product label to a 46-inch shipping tag. The printer handles the change quickly, assuming you have the right roles loaded. On the flip side, if you're a home office user who only needs to print occasional name tags or a handful of price stickers each week, this printer might feel like overkill. The upfront cost, combined with the need for thermal transfer ribbons and proper label media, can add up quickly if you're not printing in volume. Moreover, if your workflow is entirely cloud-based and you only need a Bluetooth-enabled printer for occasional on-the-go labeling, the TD4750's wired focus could be a mismatch. In short, it's built for environments where reliability and integration matter more than a low price tag. Speaking of reliability, Brother backs this unit with a 2-year Premier Limited warranty, which is a solid safety net if you're worried about downtime. In practice, that warranty means you won't be left scrambling for a replacement printer in the middle of a quarterly inventory count. The durability of the print engine also shows in real-world use. The printer's rollers and printhead are designed for continuous operation, and the thermal transfer technology eliminates the smudging issues you sometimes see with direct thermal papers when they are exposed to heat or sunlight. There are a couple of practical weaknesses you should be aware of before you hit buy. First, the media handling can be a bit finicky if you're not using Brother-approved ribbons and label stock. Users have reported that the printer sometimes jams when the roll isn't tensioned just right, which means you'll need to keep a spare roll handy and perhaps spend a minute or two troubleshooting a jam when a batch stalls. Second, while the 300 dpi resolution is sufficient for most barcode applications, it may not satisfy those who need ultra-high detail graphics or small font legal notices on labels. You might need a high-resolution printer for that niche requirement. Lastly, the physical footprint is larger than some desktop label printers, so you'll need a dedicated shelf or workstation space. Cramped office desks aren't the ideal homes for